Your buyer is panicking over the inspection report. The seller's getting defensive, and suddenly that deal that was going so smooth and beautifully is rocky, and it's on the verge of falling apart. Not because of anything that was not already there when you went under contract, but because nobody handled the moment right. I'm going to show you how to handle it correctly to keep the ball rolling and to keep everyone's expectations and emotions level so you can get to closing, make that success story, and go get more business. If these videos are helping you, share this with an agent on your team or in your office. This is the kind of stuff that saves deals if you learn about it prior. If you ever want to talk through a specific situation, my contact's in the description below. Book a link on my Calendly, and I'm happy to be a resource for you. So, why inspection negotiations go wrong? Here's what usually happens. The inspection comes back. The buyer reads the report, and suddenly everything on that report feels like a crisis. They think they're buying a house that's falling down. They send a repair list with 30 items on it, and the sellers gets insulted because you presented it, and the negotiations break down, and a deal that should have closed falls apart over a $500 issue. This happens because no one set expectations before the inspection, and because agents are often too afraid to advise their clients on what's actually worth negotiating and what's not. They just go with whatever the buyer wanted to do. But our job is to be the advocate, to be the advisor, to explain that this is normal, and to show what's really important to ask for and what you're gonna have to deal with on no matter what home you purchase. Your job's to guide them to the right outcome, and this is what good agents do. I've had a home that needed a brand new roof, a whole new roof. The roof was leaking, it was terrible, along with 50 other things on the inspection report. But I told them prior to seeing the home, look, this home was built in the 90s. It's now 2026, and the roof is likely going to need to be replaced. It was original, so we know that there's an issue here, that the roof's likely going to need to be replaced, along with a number of other issues. We also saw that the AC unit was old. This is so important to talk about before you go to the inspection, because you need to set expectations. Say, hey, look, we're really just looking for structural issues. Obviously the roof, if it's in terrible shape, it's going to be something that we're going to be working with, but you have to let them know to not be surprised by the inspection report, and let them know it's going to be lengthy. It's always a lengthy report because even new builds are lengthy. New builds often have the longest list of things. So it's important that you explain that up front. And in that situation where I knew it needed a new roof, it needed a new AC, we got both of those things. And then we forego all the other things because those were big. And in that market, it worked because it was a buyer's market. But some markets, you're gonna get a long inspection report and you don't have much leverage because there's 5 other buyers that are waiting for you to back out for them to take the deal. So before the inspection, have a direct conversation with your buyer. Say, hey, look, no home is perfect. The inspection's gonna find things, and it always will. And new builds will also always have lengthy inspection reports. Our job is to focus on what really matters: the structural concerns, the major items, the major systems in the home, and all those cosmetic things we can overlook because that's just going to be normal wear and tear on the home. If you set this expectation before they read the 20 pages of findings, they're going to go in prepared. They've already mentally put their understanding on this process, and they're not going to be shocked and they're not going to panic. And that one conversation will save more deals than you'll ever know, because you won't know because you already told them ahead, and you're not going to be in that position where a deal falls out because of silly things on an inspection report. So another thing you need to do is know the difference between safety and cosmetic. Not all inspection items are created equal, and you need to know the difference and be able to articulate that to the client. The safety and structural issues are worth negotiating every time. Electrical concerns, roof issues, foundation problems, number one, the HVAC systems that are failing, any plumbing leaks. These are legitimate asks. Like, these are normal things to ask for because that should be in proper condition when you take ownership of a home, right? So these are things that affect the livability and the safety of the home and for the people living in the home. And then you have cosmetic issues, which are minor. You have doors that stick, windows that might be harder to open, doors that don't close all the way, cabinets that are scratched, nicks in the walls, whatever it is. An older home is always going to have a list of cosmetic items, but that does not mean your buyer asks for those to be repaired and be renovated. So teach your clients to read the report the same way that you do. So focus on what matters, let go of the small stuff. And I want you to write this down. When you ask for something after an inspection, lead with a credit request instead of a long list of repairs. Because look, here's why. When you send a seller a list of 15 to 20 items to fix, they're gonna get defensive, and every item feels like an attack on their home, and negotiations can get emotional fast. Plus, if you're asking for these repairs from the seller who's not gonna be living in the house anymore, they're likely gonna try to hire the cheapest work to be completed to get that repair done based on what you're asking them. So you want quality work done on a new home that you're moving into as a buyer. So you want to explain that to your buyer and try to get them comfortable with getting a credit, and then they take care of those repairs after closing. This is a much cleaner approach, and it gets the quality of work that your buyer is going to want done. But if for whatever reason you can't go that route, it is okay to ask for repairs to be done, and you want to articulate what exactly you're asking for. But the credits do keep deals together a little bit easier because the laundry list just seems excessive, and you got to know which one to use and when. And then it really requires like judgment and critical thinking and common sense. So know when to push hard and when to kind of just like let it go. So when there's a legit issue, where there's a structural issue or a roof or a mechanical or a safety issue or a fire hazard, obviously that repair cost is going to be significant. And if the seller had prior knowledge of this, then that changes the value of the home. So it's important to push for that, but let go when an item is minor and it's just a silly cosmetic fix or something that easily the buyer can be taking on. Let it go. But your client is counting on you to tell them the truth, not to validate their frustration, and don't tell them what they want to hear. You need to tell them what's actually in their best interest. That's what they hired you for. They want you to help them get this home, but they also want to be protected and make sure that they can negotiate some of these items that they didn't know about prior when they wrote the offer that now came back on the inspection report. So if your buyer wants everything fixed, you need to say, look, I totally understand you want to have this fixed and turnkey, but 99.5% of homes have items that come back on their inspection report and they don't all get repaired. But I also want to make sure that we keep this deal together, because finding another home in this market at this price point that has all these things that check the boxes for you, it's not guaranteed. So I want you to focus on the items that are really significant and are safety hazards or are systems within the home that are important. And those other items that we're talking about, we have to let them go, and they can be handyman items, or we could take care of them after closing, or you can take care of them as the years go on. But you got to guide them, and don't just hand them the report and let their emotions go wild and let them lead the negotiation. They hired you to lead the negotiation, so you need to do that. The inspection is not the end of the deal. It's a negotiation checkpoint. So set expectations prior, focus on what actually matters, and ideally try to lead with getting a credit or a price improvement instead of the laundry list of repairs to the seller, and know when to push and when to pull and go harder in the negotiations. That's how you keep the deal alive, and you build a reputation as an agent who gets things done. And if you want to sharpen your negotiation skills or have any questions on this or any part of the real estate business and how to buy and sell homes and represent these clients, book a call on my Calendly in the link below, or DM me at PK Residential on Instagram or Facebook, and let's create consistent, predictable income. Why you joined this business? You wanted this. So let's accomplish your goals.